Hello, my bookish friends. Welcome or welcome back. I'm Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley, and today is a very exciting day because we are talking about all of the new release thriller, horror, and feminist fiction that's coming out in Q3 of 2024. So that is July, August, and September. These are my most anticipated books. Mine specifically, keep that in mind, but I have over 30 books here to tell you about, so I guarantee you're gonna find something that you wanna read. As always, get out your pens, your pencils, get out your Goodreads, your Storygraph, whatever it is that you keep track of your books with. Snuggle up, you might wanna get a snack, you might wanna get a beverage, because this is a long one. Telling you that right now going in. I haven't even filmed it yet, and I know it's long. As usual, I'm going to break this up into chapters down below to make this video a little bit easier to navigate for you. If you do enjoy this kind of content, I would love it if you liked this video. Hit the subscribe button so you get updates. I do this every 3 months to tell you about new release books. So if you're interested in that kind of content, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss me in the future. I'm going to tell you about these books in order of release date, and I will pop them up on the screen like so that you can take a screenshot also if that's the easiest way for you to keep track. Okay, all the links I'm going to try to put down below in the description as well. Check that out. Links to Goodreads. I will do my best. Sometimes I run out of space in there. There we go. All of the admin stuff is out of the way. We can go ahead, get into it, start talking about books. I do have a couple of observations that I've taken whilst curating this list. I do have some sci-fi books in here, but it's not like sci-fi in your typical sense. A lot of this is like dystopian future type stuff. It is Black Mirror type stuff. It is 5 minutes into the future type stuff. What would happen if this situation were to occur? And July is very heavy with those books, so just, you are warned. You've been warned. There's also another theme or trope in here that I think is interesting. A lot of these have TV shows within them or some kind of reality TV, social media tie-in, which I think is very interesting because I recently have been talking about how I want a very specific reality TV show book, and I've read a couple lately. I haven't found it yet, so I'm really have my fingers crossed that one of these are going to be the book for me, the thriller, the horror for me, that adds that like sinister element of reality TV production and how they manipulate the editing. Like that specifically is something that I want. Another common trope in here is authors. If you know me, you know I love reading stories about authors. For some reason, that just like meta quality really speaks to me. I love it. There is some life snatching. There's generational trauma. There is social commentary in here, which I love. So yeah, that's kind of the general what you're gonna get throughout this video. The first book that I wanna talk to you about comes out on July 2nd, and this is called Whoever You Are, Honey by Olivia. Gatwood. Love the title, love this cover, love this concept. This is said to be a kind of Stepford Wives meets Grey Gardens for the age of artificial intelligence. It says, Whoever You Are, Honey is gripping, seductive, and prescient as it dissects relationships between women, perfection and desirability, and explodes the intersection of passion, technology, and power. This is set in Silicon Valley in this perfect gentrified town. Tech elite all live there, except for one house that's this like rundown bungalow, and we have these two women that lived there, Mitty and her elderly roommate Bethel. For 10 years, Mitty has found comfort in her seclusion in this bungalow after her traumatic childhood, it sounds like. But their lives are about to be irrevocably disrupted when a new couple moves in next door, Lena and Sebastian. Sebastian is a renowned tech founder, and Lena is his spellbinding girlfriend, seemingly floating through their luxurious life. But just like Mitty, Lena has her own secrets. She feels uneasy about her oddly spotty memory and is growing increasingly wary of the way Sebastian closely controls their life together. As the two women begin to form a close friendship, they are finally forced to face their pasts, or lack thereof, which have overpowered their lives for far too long, and the urgent truths that could change everything. On the quiet outskirts of Silicon Valley, nothing is off limits, and what was once considered dystopia is now reality. I can't wait for this one. I think it sounds great. I've never read from this author. It says this is her debut. I don't know if she's written in other genres or what, but I'm very excited for this. That is 320 pages. It is listed under fiction, science fiction, poetry, adult fiction, literary fiction. Interesting. Again, on July 2nd, we have Made for You. This is by Jenna Satterthwaite. This is kind of in the same vein. This one does have a reality TV show. This also has a kind of futuristic type setting. So we're following a synth or synthetic woman named Julia. Very interesting here that the main character that we're following is a synthetic woman, which I believe is a robot. Honestly, like the more I read this pitch, the more questions I have, which is why I'm so intrigued. Hi, my name is Julia. I'm a synth and I'm here to find love. Synthetic woman Julia Walden was designed for one reason: to compete on the proposal and claim the heart of Josh LaSala. Her casting is controversial, but Julia seems to get her fairy tale ending when Josh gets down on one knee. So it sounds like it's riffing off of The Bachelor. Fast forward 15 months and Julia and Josh are married and raising their baby in small town Indiana. How is she having a baby? Again, I don't know any of the specifics about the world this is set in, but I have so many questions. But with haters around every corner, Julia's life is far cry from the domestic bliss she imagined. Then her splintering world shatters, Josh goes missing, and she becomes the prime suspect of his murder. So this just took a turn. With no one left she can trust, Julia takes the investigation into her own hands, but the explosive truths she uncovers will drive her to her breaking point. And isn't that where a person's true nature is revealed? That is, if Julia is truly a person. Told via dual timelines, Jenna Satterthwaite's twist-filled debut deftly explores the exhilarating point where artificial intelligence, reality TV, and bone-chilling murder mystery meet. 400 pages, a little on the longer side. Categorized under mystery, science fiction, thriller, mystery, adult fiction, suspense. Next on July 4th, this one I'm not sure. I've thought it was worth mentioning, but I don't know how I feel about it yet. Separately, these two things I both like individually, but I don't know if I like them in this medium, and I'm confused. So there is apparently a series coming out, a Marvel series of books written by popular authors about Marvel characters. One of them that is coming out on July 4th is by Jewell, and she wrote a crime series for adults with an original story starring Jessica Jones. I've never seen the Jessica Jones stuff. I don't know that I'm interested in this, but I loved Jewell's writing. She's a great writer. Also, as I was kind of diving into this, I saw there was another one coming out written by Seanan McGuire, who doesn't write mystery thriller, but more like fantasy, I guess, young adult fantasy. That's called Marvel, What If Wanda Maximoff and Peter Parker Were Siblings? This is going to get wild. I'm not going to get any deeper into that. It's 384 pages for the Jewell book, and again, that comes out July 4th, and it says it's mystery thriller. I don't know. I probably won't read that, to be frank, but I thought it was worth putting on here in case one of y'all wanted to read it. We'll see. Next on July 9th, we have a new John Mars. This is the author of The One and the Passengers. He writes two different kinds of books, I believe from two different publishers. One is more mystery suspense, the other one is more Black Mirror futuristic, and this does fall into that category. This is called The Family Experiment, and it's set in the same world as The One and the Passengers. Now, John Mars is a British author, so this is set in the UK. Some families are virtually perfect. The world's population is soaring, creating overcrowded cities and economic crisis. And in the UK, the breaking point has arrived and a growing number of people can no longer afford to start families, let alone raise them. And this is an interesting concept because I do think this is true of our reality, but of course I also think that people are choosing not to have families for other reasons other than they just can't afford it. We'll see where the commentary on that goes. But for those desperate to experience parenthood, there is an alternative. For a monthly subscription fee, clients can create a virtual child from scratch, basically an advanced Tamagotchi, who they can access via the metaverse and a VR headset. To launch this new initiative, the company behind Virtual Children has created, what do you think? It's a reality TV show. It's called The Substitute, and it's going to follow 10 couples as they raise their virtual child from birth to age 18 in a condensed period of 9 months. The prize is the right to keep their virtual child or risk it all for the chance at a real baby. I don't know how that works but well, I don't know the details of this world. Seems like I should, but I don't. 384 pages. This was first published in the UK on May 9th, and it's coming out in the US on July 9th. Next, again on July 9th, we have The Haters. This is by Robyn Harding. This is an author that I've not read before, but who has been on my radar for a very long time. So, you know, this could be the one. She wrote The Party and The Drowning Woman. The Drowning Woman I've heard good things about. And this is a tale of fame, obsession, and the dark recesses of social media. I believe this is a thriller. Cameron Lane is living her dream. After years of struggle and rejection, her first novel has finally been published. So in this story, we are following a novelist. She's ecstatic. She's finally got this novel, but then she gets a message from an unknown sender, and it doesn't say via which channel she's received this message, but it says, rattled by the accusations that she finds there, Cameron swallows the sick feeling in her stomach and resolves to put the missive out of her mind. But when she checks her ratings on a popular book site, could it be Goodreads, she finds a scathing 1-star review. This is reminding me of the last Taylor Adams story. The reviewer is so articulate and convincing that soon Cameron's book is flooded with bad reviews. Could the reviewer be the same person who sent the ugly email? Oh, it was an email. And why do they want to ruin her? As the online harassment creeps into Cameron's personal life, she vows to find out who's behind it. Is it really a disgruntled reader, or could it be someone she knows? The troll's actions are escalating, and when the abuse turns deadly, it will take everything Cameron has to unmask the enemy so intent on destroying her and finally learn why she's being targeted. This is 352 pages, categorized under mystery thriller, suspense, adult fiction. Again, on July 9th, we have a new novel by May Cobb called The Hollywood Assistant, and I have not read from this author either. I have read from some of these authors, I promise you. So in this story, we're following Cassidy Foster. It says she's heartbroken, she's stuck in life, she's getting a little too obsessed with plants. I can relate. Then when a well-connected friend becomes sick of Cassidy's moping around and gets her a gig with a famous Hollywood couple, Marisol and Nate Sterling, Cassidy jumps at the chance to move to sunny LA. And the Sterlings are warm and welcoming, a perfect couple, and I think she obviously is their personal assistant. Honestly, this deal sounds a little bit too good to be true because it says all she has to do is be available during the week to run errands, and in return she gets access to all of this luxury, this sparkling pool, designer clothing, like all of this stuff. Then Nate begins to ask her to read his scripts that he's written, and she thinks this could be the key to kickstarting her writing career, but it seems like they begin to become attracted to one another. It's giving Verity. It says Nate is sexy and talented, and Cassidy can't believe her luck. Clearly, Marisol doesn't know what she has. Maybe that's why the two are always fighting when they think Cassidy isn't around. But Cassidy learns she was hired for a different purpose. And when one of this couple ends up dead, Cassidy becomes the scapegoat. This one's a little longer. It's 416 pages, and this is categorized as mystery thriller, suspense, psychological fiction. On July 9th, by author Peng Shepherd, who also I've not read from before, but this one sounds so good. This one's reminding me of The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, also Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemore. So it's got that same kind of existentialist vibe to it, where it's using this magical realism or science fiction to explore what could have been or what might have been. This is called All This and More. This also includes a reality TV show. I told you there was a theme, and this is it. It's an inventive new novel about a woman who wins the chance to rewrite every mistake she's ever made and how far she'll go to find her elusive happy ever after. It also says there's a twist that the reader gets to decide what she does next to change her fate. Is this a choose your own adventure? I mean, I don't know, but if it is, down. One woman, endless options, every choice has consequences. Meek Play It Safe Marsh has just turned 45. I love that this is featuring a mature woman, and her life is in shambles. Her career is stagnant, her marriage has imploded, and her teenage daughter grows more and more distant by the day, and she's convinced that she's missed her chance at everything: romance, professional fulfillment, adventure, and she is desperate for a do-over. She can't believe her luck when she is selected to be the star of a global sensation, All This and More, a show that uses quantum technology to allow the contestants a chance to revise their pasts and change their present lives. It's Marcia's only shot to seize her dreams, and she's determined to get it right this time. But even as she rises to become a famous lawyer, gets back together with her high school sweetheart, and travels the world, she begins to worry that All This and More's promises might be too good to be true, because while the technology is amazing, something seems a bit off. Can Marsh really make her life everything she wants it to be, and is it worth it? I love just exploring these questions. So I think this is gonna be awesome. How long is this? Oh, 512 pages. Ay, yikes, that's long, sheesh. And this is categorized under science fiction, fantasy, adult science fiction, speculative fiction. Again, on July 9th, let's switch it up a little bit here. We've got a new Chuck Tingle called Bury Your Gaze. Now, Chuck Tingle, if you're unaware, is a queer romance writer and has recently ventured into horror. And so I really did enjoy Camp Damascus by him, so I'm excited to see what this one is as well. It says it's a new heart-pounding story about what it takes to succeed in a world that wants you dead. Misha is a jaded scriptwriter who has been working in Hollywood for years and has just been nominated for his first Oscar. Congratulations, Misha. But when he's pressured by his producers to kill off the gay character in the upcoming season finale for the algorithm, Misha discovers
it's not that simple.
As he is haunted by his past and past mistakes, Misha must risk everything to find a way to do what's right before it's too late. This is listed under queer, horror, LGBTQ fiction, adult contemporary, adult fiction. It's 304 pages. That fits right in my sweet spot. And again, that comes out July 9th. Again, on July 9th, this next one is called Honeycomb by S.B. Caves. Another author I'm not familiar with. This says it's a Big Brother meets Black Mirror, so how can I deny it attention? It's a high concept thriller in which 6 strangers take part in a mysterious medical experiment in an isolated mansion. We have medical experimentation, we have isolation. It's gonna be good. It has to be good. After winning the popular reality talent show, here we go again, searching for a star in a subsequent record deal at the age of 19. Okay, this is all in the past, so this is not actually part of this. Amanda Pearson was the hottest thing in the UK. But as her short-lived fame began to fade, the cracks began to show. She came stumbling and mumbling on stage, slurring during live TV interviews, suspicious photos of her at nightclubs with powder in her nostrils. The dream was over. Amanda Pearson would forever be a one-hit wonder. She was trying to play the bad girl. Didn't work out for her. So the story starts 6 years later after cleaning up her act, but failing to reestablish her career. Her ex-manager informs her of this unexpected opportunity where she can be a part of this experiment. It will greatly alleviate her dire financial situation and potentially thrust her back into the spotlight. The proposal is 6 strangers alone in a mansion under constant observation for the duration of 1 week. Every day they take a pill. 5 people are taking the placebo, but 1 person will be taking this experimental drug, which they are assured has no adverse side effects. I'm sure that's wrong. The other participants, a dinner lady who might moonlight as a comedian. What is a dinner lady? Like a server? An eccentric theater actor, a popular YouTuber, a dance choreographer, and a car salesman all seem normal at first. However, as each day goes by, cracks begin to show in the group. Paranoia leads to violence. Who is taking the real pill and what does it do? Amanda realizes that this is not normal and she is trapped. The mansion is rigged and there is no way out. Can she find a way out of this nightmare with her sanity intact? My question here is, once people start dying, or I guess getting violent, everyone's still waking up and taking the pill. Like, I imagine this goes south really quickly, but then we're all gonna keep taking the pill anyway. I'm curious. Let's see, this is 352 pages, and the genre is just thriller and horror fiction. Okay, this next one, and the last one on July 9th, is so intriguing to me. I don't really understand. It sounds like there's a whole lot going on. It's only 224 pages. It's science fiction, mystery, contemporary, and literary. Even with the genres, there's a lot going on. So from what I'm understanding, we're following this writer, again, a writer. She's a ghost writer for a famous thriller author, and she returns to her house in Florida, her mom's house where she grew up. And she is coming to terms with memories from her troubled youth and family things. Her sister lives next door. And in this world, apparently, I think this is one also like futuristic. There's this company called Elektra. During the doldrums of a recent pandemic, they released this thing called Mind's Eye, which is a virtual reality device provided to citizens of the town by Elektra. Interesting they provided it. That is interesting, because they're probably manipulating them somehow. But it's not just the ominous cats, her mother's burgeoning cult, or the fact that her belly button has become an increasingly deep cavern. Something is off in the town, and it probably has to do with the posters of missing citizens spread throughout the streets. So people are going missing, and then the writer's sister goes missing for several days and then returns talking about another dimension. Like I said, there's a lot happening. What I'm interested by is the way they're describing the story. At the beginning, it says, a heart-racing fun house of uncanniness hidden in Florida's underbelly from a reality warping storyteller. Reality warping storyteller. That's got me. That's got me. It says it's a sticky, rain-soaked reckoning with the elusive nature of storytelling.
What
does that mean? I have a feeling the narrator is going to be unreliable. But that's just a guess. It says, with inimitable control and thrilling style, she reaches deep into the void, this author, and returns with a story far stranger than either reality or fiction. I'm intrigued. I am intrigued. How is all of this in only 224 pages? I don't know. Okay, so let's move on. On July 16th, we have The Building That Wasn't by Abigail Miles. This story only ever has one ending. When Everly Tertium encounters a strange man in the park claiming to be her grandfather, she is invited to visit a mysterious apartment building. There she finds herself in a constant state of deja vu, and possibly certain that she's already lived through these moments already and been introduced to all of these people, but she has no idea what's happening to her. And the longer she stays in the building, the more Everly becomes convinced there's more going on than meets the eye. Something is off. Time seems to pass differently, and the people living there seem trapped. Slowly, Everly begins to wonder if she is trapped too. But would she even want to leave if she could? I feel like yes, you would want to leave if you could. But maybe that's the whole point. Maybe she's finding that she's not wanting to leave. This is for readers who enjoy Vicious by V.E. Schwab, which I've not read. This is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone, which I have not read, but I'm interested in. And The Paradox Hotel by Rob Hart, which I have read and really liked. This is categorized under horror and science fiction. So science fiction horror, 368 pages. And again, that comes out July 16th. Next on July 16th, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We have the new Stephen Graham Jones, I Was a Teenage Slasher. This is for fans of Grady Hendrix and Riley Sager. So I'm really interested in that because I wouldn't normally comp him to those authors, but I love both of those authors. Sometimes. And I know Stephen Graham Jones is a great writer. So let's see what this is about. 1989, La Mesa, Texas. I love that he writes about Texas because I live in Texas. A small West Texas town driven by oil and cotton, and a place where everyone knows everyone else's business. So it goes for Tolly Driver, a good kid with more potential than application, 17 and about to be cursed to kill for revenge. Stephen Graham Jones explores the Texas he grew up in, the unfairness of being on the outside, but from the perspective of the killer. What? Tolly. So Tolly is the killer, writing down his autobiography. Okay, I'm hooked. I'm in. Find yourself rooting for a killer in the summer teen movie of a novel gone full blood-curdling tragic. That's all we have for the description. 384 pages, horror, thriller, adult fiction, historical. Oh yeah, because it's set in 1989. I guess that's historical. We have one more story in July that I want to talk to you about that comes out on July 30th, and it's the new Shari Lapena. What have you done? Shari Lapena, I've read at least 2, if not 3 of her stories, and I tend to like them. I would consider her more of a domestic suspense author or a mystery suspense author. I think she is a very good storyteller, but if you go into her books wanting thriller, then you may be disappointed. So just go into this with that expectation, I guess. Nothing ever happens in sleepy little Fair Hill, Vermont, but this morning that will change. And one innocent question could be deadly. What have you done? The teenagers get their kicks telling ghost stories in the old graveyard. The parents trust their kids will arrive home safe from school. Everyone knows everyone. Curtains rarely twitch. Front doors are left unlocked. But Diana Brewer isn't lying safely in her bed where she belongs. Where is she? Instead, she lies in a hayfield circled by vultures discovered by a local farmer.
Ew, sorry.
Not good for Diana. How quickly a girl becomes a ghost. How quickly a town of friendly, familiar faces becomes a town of suspects. A place of fear and paranoia. Someone in Fair Hill did this. Everyone wants answers. I may wait for reviews on that one. That's not one that I'm gonna immediately get to, but it, again, is worth mentioning. All right, let's move on to August. In August, I have 13 books, and these are more so thriller and horror. There is a singular romance in here that I am interested in. Coming out on August 1st, we have Burn After Reading by Catherine Ryan Howard. Have I read a book by this author? Yes, I have read one book by this author, and I liked it, and I'm intrigued to see more. A year ago, former professional cyclist Jack Smythe lost his wife in a fire at their home. But the nation's sympathy turned to anger when it emerged that she died before the fire started. Okay, in a violent attack. Although Jack has never been charged in connection to her death, a suffocating cloud of suspicion hangs over him, and he's become convinced that the only way out is to tell his side of the story. When Emily Joyce is offered the gig as his ghostwriter, her main motivation for saying yes is the payday. Again, we have a writer here. She flies out to the eerie master-planned town of Sanctuary, Florida. Again, we're in Florida. We all know anything goes in Florida. Anything goes in Florida. There's no telling what's happening there at any given time right now. Something wild just happened in Florida. So she flies out to Florida to hold up with Jack for a week, getting his story down. But the story Jack tells isn't the one she expected, and soon Emily is thrown into a dangerous plot twist that she may not be able to write her way out of. Categorized under thriller and mystery. On August 6th, we have The Hum by Helen Phillips. This author also wrote The Need. I never read. I owned it for a while, and then I think I got rid of it. I am interested in this one as well, so we'll see. If I end up liking this one, maybe I'll go back and read that one. Oh yeah, this one does have kind of like futuristic AI type of themes in here. So it says, an extraordinary novel about a wife and mother who, after losing her job to AI, undergoes a procedure that renders her undetectable to surveillance. But at what cost? Okay, I remember this one now. Yeah, it sounds good. In a city coddled by climate change and populated by intelligent robots called hums, May loses her job to artificial intelligence. In a desperate bid to resolve her family's debt and secure their future for another few months, she becomes a guinea pig in an experiment that alters her face so that it cannot be recognized by surveillance. Seeking some reprieve from her recent hardships and from her family's addictions to their devices, she splurges on passes that allow them 3 nights respite in the botanical garden, a rare green refuge where forests, streams, and animals flourish. That sounds amazing. But her insistence that her son, daughter, and husband leave their devices at home proves far more fraught than she anticipated, and the lush beauty of the botanical garden is not the balm she hoped it would be. If I'm not mistaken, The Need also had something to do with like plant life growing, and it's reminding me of, oh god, what is that other kind of sci-fi series that I read the first book? I'll put it up here. This one with the kind of like horror mixed in with the vegetation of it all. I'm intrigued by that. When her children come under threat, May is forced to put her trust in a hum of uncertain motives as she works to restore the life of her family. Hum is a work of speculative fiction that unflinchingly explores marriage, motherhood, and selfhood in a world compromised by global warming and dizzying technological advancement. A world of both dystopian and utopian possibilities. Nice. Jeff Vandermeer, that's the guy. He said, Helen Phillips, in typical bravura fashion, has found a way to make visible, uncomfortable truths about our present by interrogating the near future. 272 pages.
Annihilation.
That's what it is. 272 pages. Again, this comes out August 6th. And this is classified under science fiction, dystopia, adult novels, fantasy. Next on August 6th, we have A Mask of Flies by Matthew Lyons. I think this may be one of the most gorgeous covers. Like, I love the color. I love the color of the font. I love that this woman's a redhead. She's got the like green contrasting it. And I love the disgusting, how it like goes into the flies and it gets darker as you go down. I just think this is beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, so it seems like this one is like a crime horror mixed with supernatural and potentially zombies. I'm not sure. A Mask of Flies by Matthew Lyons. It says it blends It Follows, which I don't know what It Follows is. Actually, was that really weird one with the kids and the string? Something about a string? Anyway, and The Outsider with a pinch of The Evil Dead, in which a criminal and the cop she's taken hostage must find their way to safety, pursued by threats both human and supernatural after a failed bank robbery. Very convoluted. There's this botched bank heist, and we're following Anne Heller, and she has no choice but to return to her family's cabin, a secluded shack in the San Luis Valley, and the site of her mother's untimely death. I think this is also going to be grief horror. Did I say that already? She's got her partner with her along for this ride. Her partner is badly wounded, her partner in crime, I guess, or maybe in life too, I don't know. And Dutch, the police officer that she's taken hostage. Then Jessup, the partner, goes missing and then ends up dead. Then rises out of his grave and comes and knocks on the door at this cabin. Says not a dream, not a hallucination, but not exactly Jessup either. Something else. Something wearing her friend's face. Something hungry. So maybe it's not him at all. Maybe it's literally something wearing his face. Maybe it's not supernatural. Maybe it is. I don't know. A Mask of Flies is a gritty, heartfelt meditation on death, family, and the ever-changing, monstrous nature of grief. 448 pages, a little bit on the longer side. Horror, fiction, adult, mystery, crime, paranormal thriller. On August 6th, this one sounds really good. The Unmothers by Leslie J. Anderson. I don't know this author, but it says it's a folk horror mystery. We're following a woman who's a journalist. It's an atmospheric tale of feminine rage, bodily autonomy, and generational trauma. Must I continue?
Yes.
I mean, no, but I will. Marshall is trying to put the pieces together after the death of her husband. After she's involved in a terrible accident, her editor sends her to a small backwards town in Rayford to investigate a ridiculous rumor that a horse has given birth to a healthy human boy. Like, what? When Marshall arrives, she finds an insular town that is kinder to the horses that they are famous for than they are to its own people. But when two horribly mangled bodies are discovered in a field, one a horse and one a human, she realizes that there might be a real story here. And as she's pulled deeper into the town and its guarded people, her sense of reality is tipped on its head. Is she losing her grip, or is this impossible story the key to a dark secret that has haunted the women of Rayford for generations? 320 pages. I am definitely going to read this one. This sounds so good. And this is categorized under horror, adult fiction, mystery, and thriller. Next, on August 6th, we have a new thriller by Will Dean called The Chamber. I just read this author for the first time and enjoyed his writing, so I am interested to see this. And of course, this is set in isolation, so I love an isolated thriller. We're following 6 experienced saturation divers as they are locked inside a hyperbaric chamber. Calm and professional, they know that rapid decompression would be fatal, and so they work in shifts, breathing helium and surviving in hot, close quarters. This sounds like hell. Then one of them is found dead in his bunk. Okay, so they have bunks. At least it's not like, you know, a tiny room where they're all this close to each other. At least they have bunks. With 4 days of decompression to go before the locked hatch to the chamber can safely be opened, the group must watch one another's backs at all times. So it's giving Agatha Christie, actually. And whenever another diver is discovered unresponsive, everyone is on edge. But what or who is taking them out one by one? And will any of them still be alive by the time the 4 days is up? Or will paranoia, exhaustion, suspicion, and pressure, literal pressure, destroy them all? This is 352 pages, and it is a thriller, mystery, adult fiction, suspense, crime. House of Glass by Sarah Pakkanen. On August 6th, Sarah Pakkanen usually writes as a duo. What is her name? Hendricks and Pakkanen? Not Grady, what is her name? Rose Barclay is a 9-year-old girl who witnessed the possible murder of her nanny in the midst of her parents' bitter divorce and immediately stopped speaking. Oh, poor Rose. Stella Hudson is a best interest attorney appointed to serve as counsel for children in custody cases. She never accepts clients under 13 due to her own traumatic childhood. But Stella's mentor, a revered judge, believes Stella is the only one who can help. From the moment Stella passes through the iron security gate and steps into the gilded, historic DC home of the Barclays, she realizes that the case is even more twisted and the Barclay family is more troubled than she feared. And there's something eerie about the house itself. It's a plastic house with not a single bit of glass to be found. Okay, now I'm interested. House of Glass. As Stella comes closer to uncovering the secrets the Barclays are desperate to hide, danger wraps around her like a shroud, and her past and present are set on a collision course in ways she never expected. Everyone is a suspect in the nanny's murder. The mother, the father, the grandmother, the nanny's boyfriend. Even Rose is the person Stella's supposed to protect, the one that she may need protection from. Thriller mystery, 352 pages. Sounds pretty good. All right, next on August 6th, we have my one romance that I was interested in. And I don't know, I just keep coming back to this one. This is a bi romance by Casey McQuiston called The Pairing. I read Red, White, and Royal Blue by this author and really loved it years back. And this one sounded interesting to me, so I wanted to add it to the list. We're following Theo and Kit, and they have been a lot of things. Childhood best friends, crushes, in love, and now estranged exes. Eek. After a brutal breakup on their transatlantic flight to their dream European food and wine tour vacation, they exited each other's lives once and for all. Who breaks up on a plane to vacation? But then, you know, you're stuck there together. They're gonna be stuck there together. Ugh. Time apart has done them good. Oh, maybe not. Theo has found confidence as a hustling bartender by night and aspiring sommelier by day, with a long roster of casual lovers. Kit, who never returned to America, Kit, graduated as the reigning sex god of his pastry school class and now bakes at one of the finest restaurants in Paris. Ugh, I'm already in love. Hello. Give me a Paris bistro and a baguette and a spot on the street and espresso. Ugh, sold. Sure, nothing really compares to what they had, and life stretches out long and lonely ahead of them, but yeah, it's in the past. Or is it? All that remains is the unused voucher for the European tour that never happened, good for 48 months after its original date and about to expire. 4 years later, it seems like a great idea to finally take the trip solo separately. Okay, I was right. Just manipulated it a little bit, but we're still setting them up in the same way. It's not until they board the tour bus that they discover they've both accidentally had the same exact idea, and now they're trapped with each other. Oh, they didn't know each other were going. Okay. Now they're trapped with each other for 3 weeks of stunning views, luscious flavors, and the most romantic cities of France, Spain, and Italy. It's fine. There's nothing left between them, so much nothing that when Theo suggests a friendly wager to see who can sleep with their hot Italian tour guide first, Kit is totally game. And why stop there? Why not a full-on European hookup competition? Okay. But sometimes a taste of everything only makes you crave what you can't have. So this is a queer romance, contemporary adult fiction, 432 pages, kind of long. Let's move on to August 13th. I have If You Tell a Lie by Lucinda Berry. I have not read Lucinda in a while, and I really want to reconnect with Lucinda because I think she is so good at going there. She is not afraid of darkness, especially when it comes to the human psyche. She's not afraid to expose that as a writer and manipulate that to put her characters in situations that are messed up and that are thrilling and dark as hell. So anyway, If You Tell a Lie by Lucinda Berry. This one is using a very classic trope, similar to In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead, if you liked that one, where we are following a group of friends in a dual timeline, past and present, and there's a secret from the past that they're all hiding, and then something comes out in the present that exposes them. They have to reunite, yada yada. It sounds like these 4 girls made up some kind of gossip about their tennis instructor at Camp Pendleton, a haven for gifted children. This was their senior summer, and they met Mr. Crosby. And he's very handsome, and he wound up murdered after a reckless lie. Blakely, Grace, Meg, and Thera swore themselves to secrecy and never spoke to each other again. Until now, 20 years later, a sinister note claiming to know what they did brings them back together. And once again, Blakely is pulling the strings. Unfolding in a dual timeline, If You Tell a Lie is a disturbing journey into the dangerous, sometimes deadly consequences of peer pressure with a bone-chilling twist you'll never see coming. And I'm sure it is. She's great at twists. That is August 13th. Again on August 13th, we have Through the Midnight Door by Katrina Monroe. I don't know this author, but this reminded me of The Haunting of Hill House, or at least the TV series adaptation. As emotional as it is haunting, Through the Midnight Door explores the sometimes fragile bonds of sisterhood and the way deeply rooted trauma can pass from generation to generation. We're following the Finch sisters. They once spent long hot summers exploring the dozens of abandoned properties littering their dying town until they found an impossible home with an endless hall of doors and 3 keys left waiting for them. Curious, fearless, they stepped inside their chosen rooms and experienced horrors they never dared speak of again. Okay. Now, years later, youngest sister Claire has been discovered dead in that old desiccated house. Haunted by their sister's suicide and the dreams of a past they've struggled to forget, Meg and Esther find themselves at bitter odds. As they navigate the tensions of their brittle relationship, they draw unsettling lines between Claire's death, their own haunted memories, and a long-ago loss no one in their family has ever been able to face. With the house once again pulling them ever closer, Meg and Esther must find the connection between their sister's death and the shadow that has chased them across the years before the darkness claims them too. 368 pages. It says horror, fantasy, fiction, thriller, adult, mystery, contemporary. That's a lot of genre. No science fiction though, which is interesting considering they found a house with endless hallway and doors. Maybe that's the fantasy aspect. Next, on August 13th, we have Society of Lies by Lauren Ling Brown. This cover drew me in 100%. I think it's gorgeous. It looks like a beautiful, modern thriller cover, something that I would like to read. So it's on the list. Let's see what it's about. When a young woman is found dead on her college campus. Oh yeah, this is definitely giving
dark academia energy.
Maya. Maya can't wait to return to Princeton for reunions. It's been a decade since she graduated, but she's looking forward to seeing old faces and reminiscing about her college days. And this year, even more special because her little sister Naomi is graduating. But what should have been a dream weekend becomes Maya's worst nightmare when she gets a call that no one ever wants. Naomi is dead. The police are saying it's an accident, but Maya suspects there is more to the story than they are letting on. And as Maya pieces together the months leading up to her sister's death, she starts to realize how much Naomi hid from her. Naomi had joined the Sterling Club, the most exclusive social club on campus, the same one Maya belonged to, despite Maya's warnings. And if she had to guess, she'd say Naomi was also tapped for the secret society within it. The more Maya uncovers, the more terrified she becomes that Naomi's decision to follow in her footsteps might have been what got her killed. Because Maya's time at Princeton wasn't as wonderful as she's always pretended that it was. After all, her sister wasn't the first young woman to turn up dead. Now every clue is leading Maya back to the past and to the secrets that she's kept all of these years. This one also was reminding me of In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. The dark academia vibes, for sure. It says mystery thriller, fiction, adult crime, suspense, 384 pages, a little longer than I typically like, but still within the comfort zone. On August 27th, another one by an author that I'm not familiar with, but this sounds good, and the cover is so stunning. I love this cover. It's giving Silence of the Lambs, the cover anyway. It's called The Madness by Don Kurtagich. We're following a psychologist named Mina Murray in London, and she gets an unexpected email from her estranged best friend Lucy. And because of this email, she packs everything up and she goes to Wales. Oh, Lucy's sick. Okay. It says Lucy's symptoms mirror those of her mysterious patient with amnesia hundreds of miles away. With nothing but an untreatable sickness connecting the two women, and with Lucy's life on the line, Mina finds herself asking questions and being drawn ever deeper into the web of secrets, missing girls, and the powerful nameless force at its center, one that has been haunting her for years. As terrible ancient truths begin to reveal themselves, Mina prepares to confront her own darkest secrets, and with them an evil beyond comprehension. Together with a group of smart, savvy women, Mina seizes one last desperate chance to stop the cycle that began so long ago. But there are dangers to inviting the attentions of what might not be a man, but a monster. I think I know what this is. I think it might be paranormal. Let's just say that. And it does say it's horror fiction. So we'll leave it at that. I think this one sounds really good. It's 288 pages. That's right in the sweet spot for me. All right, this next one is The Queen by Nick Cutter. Nick Cutter wrote The Troop. I really liked The Troop for its body horror. So disgusting and disturbing. But then I recently read his mashup. He did a book called The Handyman Method with another author. And I didn't like that one as much. That one felt incel. Kind of, to me. I'm gonna give Nick Cutter another shot with this one because it sounds interesting. The cover is really awesome. It looks like an old school horror paperback. On a sunny morning in June, Margaret Carpenter wakes up to find a new iPhone on her doorstep. She switches it on to find a text from her best friend Charity Atwater. The problem is Charity's been missing for over a month. Most people in town, even the police, think she's dead. Margaret and Charity have been lifelong friends. They share everything, know the most intimate details about one another, but Charity carries a secret that even she is unaware of. A secret engraved into her DNA helix. Oh, I don't remember. What? Charity is also known as Subject 6, the crown jewel of Project Athena. A clandestine and unorthodox gene manipulation experiment. What? The brainchild of tech titan Rudyard Crate. And when Charity's gene sequencing actualizes during a traumatic event at a high school party, it sets in motion a chain of events that will end in tragedy, bloodshed, and death.
What?
And now Charity wants Margaret to know her story, the real story. In a narrative that takes place over one feverish day, Margaret follows a series of increasingly dreadful breadcrumbs as she forges deeper into the mystery of her best friend, a person she never truly knew at all. It says horror, adult fiction, thriller, Canada. Apparently it's set in Canada. 384 pages. Moving on to September. I don't really know how to feel about this, okay, but it sounds very interesting and it sounds like legendary at the very least. This is called Pay the Piper, and this is written originally or half written by George A. Romero, who was the writer-director of Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all of those zombie apocalypse movies in the 70s, 80s, and throughout like 4 decades. He died in 2017, and they found this manuscript, this like unfinished manuscript, I guess, or something. They gave it to Daniel Kraus to finish. Daniel Kraus came out with this, thought it was a debut, but maybe not, last year, called Whale Fall, which was a really incredible grief horror story about a man who gets swallowed by a whale while dealing with the grief of losing his father to suicide. It was so good. I'm not a huge zombie fan or like Dawn of the Dead fan, all of that, Night of the Living Dead, but I'm a fan of Daniel Kraus. This sounds like it could be something really cool. A terrifying tale of supernatural horror set in a cursed Louisiana bayou. Alligator Point, Louisiana, population 141. Young Renee Pontiac has heard stories of the Piper, a murderous swamp entity haunting the bayou her entire life. But now the legend feels horrifically real when children are being taken and gruesomely slain. To resist, Pontiac and the town's desperate denizens will need to acknowledge the sins of their ancestors, the infamous slave traders, the pirates Lafitte. And if they don't, it's time to pay the piper. That's all we get. It just says horror for the genre. It's 328 pages, and that comes out September 3rd. Again, on September 3rd, so excited for this, we have a new Matt Haig. This is a little outside of my normal genres, I guess? No, it's not. Matt Haig started the genre. Anyway, I love Matt Haig. He's been going through a lot of stuff personally. I follow him on Instagram. I don't know him, but he is very open and vulnerable with his struggles with mental health. I believe he was going through it for a long time, and so he hadn't put out a book since maybe the Comfort book 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Anyway, so excited for this new release. It's called The Life Impossible. I know it's gonna be like something that's super insightful and ends up making me feel hope. I just know that because that's who he is as a writer. The Life Impossible is a story of wild adventure, deep transformation, and gloriously heartwarming characters. It shows how a new outlook can burst into life at any moment and change everything. When retired teacher Grace Winters is left a rundown house on a Mediterranean island by a long-lost friend, curiosity gets the better of her. She arrives in Ibiza with a one-way ticket, no guidebook, and no plan. Among the rugged hills and golden beaches of the island, Grace searches for answers about her friend's life and how it ended. Oh, so her friend died. Okay, eek. What she uncovers, oh, I guess that's how she got the house, huh? What she uncovers is stranger than she could have dreamed. But to dive into this impossible truth, Grace must first come to terms with her past. Filled with wonder and wild adventure, this is a story of hope and life-changing power of new beginnings. I can't wait. I love this. Pre-ordered. Done. On September 10th, we have another one that I don't know how I feel about this cover, but I like what it's trying to do. It's called Guillotine by Delilah S. Dawson. And this author was featured in another one of my most anticipated releases, I believe, when she wrote Bloom, which I still have not read, but this one sounds really good too. The Menu meets Ready or Not. Both movies. I don't think I've seen Ready or Not, but I want to. And The Menu is excellent. It's like a foodie horror type deal. It's a dark tale of opulent luxury and shocking violence. Thrift fashionista Des Lane doesn't want to date Patrick Ruskin. She just wants to meet his mother, the editor-in-chief of Nouveau magazine. When he invites her to his family's big Easter reunion at their lake retreat, she's certain she can put up with his arrogance and fend off his advances long enough to ask Marie Caulfield Ruskin for an internship. When they arrive at the enormous mansion on an island in the center of a Georgia lake, Des is floored. She never witnessed how the 1% lives before in all of their ridiculous, unnecessary luxury. But once all the family members are on the island and the ferry has departed, shit gets real. This must be a big lake. For decades, the Ruskins have made their servants sign contracts that are basically indentured servitude. And with nothing to lose, the servants have decided their only route to freedom is to get rid of the Ruskins for good. It's a coup! It's a coup! Des and Patrick are on the run, but the more Ruskins she sees die, And the more servants who tell their stories, the more Des realizes that she wants nothing to do with Marie and her magazine. You think? In fact, by the end, Des might be the one strangling Marie to death with her trademark chunky pearls. I mean, there's a little bit of humor in that too. That sounds good. I'm excited for that one. The genre just says horror. It's 208 pages, shorter than I was expecting, actually. Yeah, we'll see. Again, on September 10th, we have a new Rachel Harrison, which I'm very excited for, called So Thirsty. Judging strictly on this cover, I think it's safe to say that this is a vampire novel, which is hit or miss for me. But this being Rachel Harrison, I know I'm gonna love it. She has such a way. I started reading this author last year, and I haven't read Such Sharp Teeth yet by her, which I need to, but I've read the Witch one, and then the newest one, Black Sheep, I read. And I love how she sets up her stories. I love how she sets up her characters.
One of us, one of us.
I relate to her a lot, and I relate to her writing a lot, and I feel a lot of compassion and empathy for her main characters. She also usually has a little bit of like a comeback, like an empowering type of feeling or vibe or energy. Anyway, let's just see what this is about. Sloane Parker is dreading her birthday. She doesn't need a reminder that she's getting older or that she's feeling indifferent about her own life. Her husband surprises her with a birthday weekend getaway. Not with him, but with Sloane's longtime best friend, troublemaker extraordinaire, Naomi. Sloane anticipates a weekend of wine tastings and cozy robes and strategic avoidance of issues she'd rather not confront, like her husband's repeated infidelity. But when they arrive at their rental cottage, it becomes clear Naomi has something else in mind. Oh, she wants Sloane to stop letting things happen for her, for Sloane to really live. So Naomi orchestrates a wild night out with a group of mysterious strangers, only for it to take a horrifying turn that changes Sloane's and Naomi's lives literally forever.
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 The friends are forced to come to terms with some pretty eternal consequences. In this bloody, seductive novel about how it's never too late to find satisfaction, even though it might taste different than expected. I know I'm gonna love this. I just know I am. 304 pages, horror, vampires, fantasy, adult, paranormal thriller. Next, on September 17th, we have Bitter is the Heart by Mina Hardy. I don't know this author, but this sounded good to me. Haunted by childhood abuse, a woman is forced to care for a cruel elderly mother in this electrifying horror novel exploring generational trauma, perfect for fans of Cassandra Khaw and T. Kingfisher. I respect Cassandra Khaw, but I feel like she is a little bit too, her writing's just a hair too pretentious even for me, but I do really love T. Kingfisher. So this could be great for me. We're following Tamar Glass, and she fled an abusive mother when she was 18, running away from home to find a better life elsewhere. She has lived in freedom from her mother, Ruth, for decades, until one night she wakes to find her now elderly mother standing over her bed. Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. As Tamar takes in her mother, strange events start happening inside. The house is oppressively hot, lights flicker, and cupboards open and shut on their own. Ooh, is this like poltergeisty? Whispers filter beneath the bedroom door. Tamar learns that Ruth has been kicked out of her assisted living home, and they refuse to house her and endanger their own residence. Oh. Tamar has spent years suppressing her childhood trauma, but it comes rushing back with each strange event in her home. As Tamar copes with their disturbing past, which her mother stubbornly refuses to admit to, Tamar can't shake the feeling that there's something worse than her mother lurking in the shadows. Perfect for fans of The Haunting of Hill House, this terrifying novel unravels one dark strand at a time. I don't know where it's going, but I'm intrigued. 304 pages. Straight horror. Next, on September 17th, we have Dearest by Jackie Walters. A new mom in need of help opens her door to her long-estranged mother, only to invite something darker inside in this fast-paced, frightening debut. Oh, that was a Rachel Harrison quote. How funny. About the long shadows cast by family secrets, perfect for readers of Grady Hendrix or Ashley Audrain. It was just pulling me in by the comp titles and the comp authors. Oh, this might be a creepy child trope. Okay, no. It's not creepy child, but it is exploring the horrors of motherhood, it sounds like. So we're following Flora. She's a new mom. She's enamored of her baby girl Iris, even if she arrived a few weeks early. With her husband still deployed, Flora navigates their newborn stage alone. But as the sleepless nights pass, and the loneliness of their half-empty home, the edges of reality begin to blur. So this is definitely going to be an unreliable narrator where we're not sure if she is losing her sanity or not. Just as Flora becomes convinced that she is losing her mind, a surprising guest shows up. Flora's own mother, to whom she hasn't spoken in years. Can they mend their fraught relationship? Or is there more Flora's mother isn't telling her about the events that led to their estrangement? So mom shows up to help her, or what? As stranger and scarier events unfold. But what scary events? I feel like this book is blurring into the last one. Bitter is the heart. Definitely mommy issues in both of these. Flora begins to suspect the house is not as empty as she once thought. She must determine, is her hold on reality slipping dangerously away, or is she, in fact, the only thing standing between a terrifying visitor and her baby? Is the terrifying visitor her mom? I'm so confused. 304 pages, and this just says horror fiction under genres. I don't know if I love or hate this cover. I don't like the font for sure, but I like this door with the little girl in it. I think it's kind of creepy. So yeah, we'll see about that one. Next, on September 17th, we have a new roman alum called Entitlement. I read one book by this author recently, Leave the World Behind, because I wanted to watch the Netflix adaptation, which I did. The adaptation's good, by the way. And I was kind of conflicted about whether or not I like this author, because I like their concepts that they tend to delve into. But I don't know that I like the author's voice, or like the authorial voice. So I don't know. I'm still deciding. But anyway, this one sounds interesting. It says, a novel of money and morality. From the New York Times bestseller, Leave the World Behind. Brooke wants. She isn't in need, but there are things she wants. A sense of purpose, for instance. She wants to make a difference in the world, to impress her mother along the way, to spend time with friends and secure her independence. Her job assisting an octogenarian billionaire in his quest to give away a vast fortune could help her achieve many of these goals. It may inspire new desires, as proximity to wealth turns out to be nothing less than transformative. What is money really? But a kind of belief. Taut, unsettling, and alive to the seductive distortions of money, Entitlement is a riveting tale of our new Gilded Age, a story that confidently considers questions about need and worth, race and privilege, philanthropy and generosity, passion and obsession. It is a provocative, propulsive novel about the American imagination. It says it's literary fiction, contemporary fiction, 288 pages. Lastly, on September 24th, we have The Hitchcock Hotel by Stephanie Robel. This is the author of Darling Rose Gold, which I did not read, but which I believe was either inspired by or based on the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, the true crime story. I like her vibe, so, you know, I'm interested. Alfred Smedel is not your average Hitchcock fan. He is the founder, owner, and manager of the Hitchcock Hotel, a sprawling Victorian house in the White Mountains, dedicated to the master of suspense. There, Alfred offers his guests round-the-clock film screenings, movie props, and memorabilia in every room, plus an aviary with 50 crows. I mean, I'd go. To celebrate the hotel's first anniversary, he invites his former best friends from his college film club for a reunion. He hasn't spoken to any of them in 16 years, not after What Happened. Who better than them to appreciate Alfred's creation and to help him finish it? After all, no Hitchcock set is complete without a body. So it sounds like he's got some kind of vengeance to cast forth on his film club buddies. Yeah, like I said, I'm intrigued. We'll see. 352 pages. This is mystery thriller, horror, suspense, adult fiction, and there you have it. Those are the over 30 books that I'm looking forward to. My most anticipated releases of Q3 in 2024. If you are still here to the end, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I'm gonna ask you again, if you liked this, if you found it informative, hit the like and hit that subscribe button. I will link my other two videos from 2024 down below as well. well if you want to check those ones out. And stay tuned for Q4, which will be coming up in a couple of months. And that's going to be it for me today, y'all. Don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Cheers and goodbye!